Hi there, Leslie here, and I wanted to continue our discussion around gray hair, what to do with it in a really wholesome and holistic way. So obviously it takes some time to use the holistic steps that I've outlined in some of my other videos before your hair grows back in dark like this. What can you do in the meantime? Obviously, we've got the holidays coming up. We all want to look our best. And yet the temptation to return to traditional hair dye is pretty strong. So I wanted to introduce you today to something called Hairprint. This was developed by a professor at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, who unfortunately had a very sad story exposing himself to chemicals, which indirectly appears to have led to the death of his son. And he decided that we're just putting too many chemicals out into the environment, and this is contributing to ill health for ourselves, but also very ill health for the environment. And we're all part of the same ecosystem. What pollutants we put into our estuaries and reservoirs and waterways comes back to us through fish, through other products that come from the sea that we then ingest. So Professor Werner was out to create a hair dye that didn't have any pollutants or toxins, because one of the problems with traditional hair dye is that when it is actually cleaned through sanitation processes, it's usually exposed to chlorine and it turns into something called a nitrosamine, which is a carcinogen. So this product, Hairprint, has only 7 food-grade ingredients. You could actually eat this. So you put it on your hair and it dyes it back only to its original color. So that may be a blow to some of you. You're not going to get those highlights that you might have become accustomed to. You won't be able to have pink hair, but it will put your hair back to the original color and the original texture. So that's another problem that we face as we get older. The texture of our hair changes. That's due to the change in hormones. We might find it gets a bit frizzy or dry. This actually restores the integrity of each individual hair, as well as putting back the eumelanin into each strand of hair. So it's not going to be, each strand of hair has a different unique color. So you will get the kind of highlights that are natural to hair that is undyed. And you might remember those from when you were younger, but you're not going to get professional salon type highlights. On the other hand, 3 billion pounds of hair dye goes into waterways annually. And 75% of American women now dye their hair. That's a huge number. 3 out of 4 American women. I had to look twice at that statistic. I couldn't believe it. That's up from 7% in the 1950s. And somewhere around 10% of men dye their hair as well. So as we get older and everyone wants to look younger, the burden on, the environmental burden on our waterways is only going to go up. This is a way to turn that back, as well as turn back the clock on your hair, get it back to its original texture and color. Please take a look at it. It's worth investigating. So the company is called Hairprint. If you want to learn more about Professor Werner and the great work he's doing on sustainable chemistry and the environment, you can go to the WernerBabcockinstitute.com. That's at the University of Massachusetts. Thanks again for watching.